and the Hangout is now live. So, Michael, keep the swears to the minimum, okay?
I got all my swears out yesterday. You have no idea what it was like at the Verizon store. So
fair enough. Well, now we can also have the chance to just go to our social medias and share that we are now live. Something I need to just check is make sure the live event is
I'm seeing it being broadcast.
excellent.
4:34, 3. So we're running 15 seconds behind for the live feed.
Cool.
Just an FYI. So we're going to start off with New York Con panels.
That's where we're going to get. We'll launch into that.
Okay.
Well, Graham Small is with us. Hello, Graham. Trying to find the pop-up window so I can. Ah, there we are. Live control room. I think I'm still kind of getting my head around the whole YouTube bit. I'm getting there. So yes, if you are joining us, if I can see that we've got 1 or 2 viewers already, welcome along. Thank you very much indeed. We've got Graham Small. If you want to say hello, jump in on the YouTube chat room, and yeah, let us know that you're watching. But I'm just about to message that we're live on the old social medias.
Tag me because I'm doing the forum. Please, thank you. Okay.
Today we are going to be talking about New York Comic-Con. We'll be talking about fall television. The day is mostly going to be driven, or the show is mostly going to be driven by Ms. Alyssa Franks.
Waving. Okay. Thank you.
well, 2 minutes.
Indeed.
Whoa. So do you guys have any exclusives that you're going for at the con?
Of course.
Okay. Well, I knew that. I was actually more directing this as Melanie.
I'm thinking of a few Funkos. I just entered the.
I'm going to be pushing for a number of people who are going to get me a couple, because there's 1 or 2 that are definitely taking my fancy.
Okay, so we need a Funko. We'll do a Funko segment in the show.
Oh yes.
That off.
Oh.
I trimmed all my fingernails and I can't mute my phone now.
Oh, third world problem, man. Oh, first world problem. First world problem.
Well, I have an external battery pack for my phone, and one of the things is all of the controls are recessed, so you need long pointy things to get in there. So yeah, first world problems, totally. Got it right there.
Cool. Okay. that the graphic seems to have frozen at 4. That is clearly not the case.
Oh no.
I need 2 minutes. So.
Clearly not the case.
Well, it's
I think people have worked it out.
yeah.
So there we go. Okay. So let me just move that around there and get myself all nice out, because we also have the chat room up and running. Angela Copley is saying hello from Texas. Andrew English from London. Hopefully you got my message earlier, sir, relating to earlier on today. We've got Graham Small, who's watching, already jumping in with comments about television, mostly about the UK, because Red Dwarf started off last week, and I know that episode 2, saying basically season 11 is off to a good start. We are going to be talking television on both sides of the Atlantic later on this show. But welcome to Talkin Comic-Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name is Leonard Sultana, and each and every Sunday we talk San Diego Comic-Con, con culture, and all the stuff and nonsense that surrounds it. It is the 25th of September 2016. I haven't done a countdown of the days till San Diego, because I'm keeping that completely out of my head for the moment, because if I do, it'll just start freaking me out a little bit. I'm just staying where it is. It's over there on the other side of the New Year line. I can live with it there. For the moment, however, we are talking about New York Comic-Con. We're talking about events that are coming up. It is still very busy season when it comes to comic conventions. Here in the UK, we've got ourselves Glasgow Comic-Con run by MCM, and we also have Sherlock. I believe is it Cincinnati that's happening this weekend in North America, I believe.
I think so. I saw a couple of tweets. Stan Lee, I think, is at Cincinnati this weekend.
Yes. So one of those extremely rare opportunities for you to see Stan Lee. Stops doing conventions altogether and then dies. But anyway.
I think they've been announcing his final con at every single con for the next 3 years.
Fine. But I mean, he is at the moment, you've got to understand, suffering from a situation which is commonly known as 93. So you've got to understand that's where he is at the moment. But to be honest, I mean, the way he bounced on stage at San Diego this year, I still think the man's either immortal. I still expect him to come out with a sword one time and just say there can be only one and start hacking at people. Family works, but there we go. Right. To be honest, I am going to be staying very much in the corner of the show this week, because it's very much going to be driven by Alyssa. I might as well welcome my guest, Alyssa Franks from the Friends of CC Forum. How are you doing?
Well, lots of TV this week. Lots of planning for New York Con. Desperately trying to get through everything. Press announcements. Just first year as press for any serious show, and oh my word, I had no idea how many I would be getting in my mailbox.
Oh yes, that's the way it works. If you apply for San Diego, expect that to triple, easy. It's a fun experience, but yeah, that's the way that press works. I'm guessing it's all been about New York Comic-Con on the forum this week.
Yes, about New York Con. TV has been right up there. Exclusives, of course, have taken a pretty front row seat with regards to New York Con. But there's been a lot of talk about the announcements and the cover that came out, the Jim Lee cover, which was amazing.
Yeah, it is very, very pretty indeed. It's the Wonder Woman cover, very, very nice indeed.
Yeah,
excellent stuff. We'll be talking exclusives as well, mostly I suspect with this gentleman here, Michael Leventhal. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm good. How's everything?
Not too bad at all. How's your week been?
My week's been long, but I'm looking forward to the weekend and looking forward to this coming week with our Incidental as well. So
I knew you'd be excited about that. We are going to be talking about a special hangout that we're going to be doing midweek later on in the show, but that's coming up. We've also got somebody.
I only got two words in here.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to move things on. But no, go on. So yeah, well, I mean, what are you looking forward to?
You know, I was caught a little off guard. Usually I look at the panel schedule like a day before the con. So this show made me actually prepare. So like now I'm actually prepared 2 weeks in advance. But yeah, a lot of panels, a lot of panels going on this year.
Yeah, I mean, the panels got announced, I believe it was on Thursday, Friday. So a couple of people have had a couple of days to look over the schedule. So we'll definitely be getting into that. Somebody who is going to New York Comic-Con and has been introduced to us, first timer on the Hangout. It's a pleasure to have her join us. We've got, now, you're going to have to let me know I'm pronouncing the surname right. It's Melanie Gagney.
Yes, that is correct. Hello.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Melanie.
Thank you.
Now, it's Alyssa kind of has introduced you to come on the Hangout. Are you a forum member? Is that where you've kind of gotten your information so far?
Yes, I am an avid forum member, you could say, and I apologize for the lack of graphic today. We have the Mac versus PC problem going on, but hopefully we can figure that out for next time.
No worries.
Melanie,
so this your
Melanie has been on a couple of, gotten highlighted in a couple of Game of Thrones cosplays that she's done recently with the Game of Thrones cast. I don't, were those done taken at San Diego, Melanie? Those two pictures that I've seen publicized?
Yes, they're actually, I think there's 3 going out there. I think I've posted 2 of them. We're trying to get, my father and I are trying to work out with Getty Images how to actually get access to them without having to pay the full fee, because I am the person in them. But we don't really know how to go about that. But they were taken by Getty at the signing.
Very
wonderful.
Nice.
Yes.
Excellent stuff. Well, I mean, this is your first time going to New York. I mean, are you a long-time attendee? How what's your history with New York Comic-Con?
I have been going there since, I want to say 2012. I skipped 2013 and I went in 14 and 15. So 4th year going. Yeah. Yeah, this will be
stuff. So you know your way around. With New York Comic-Con, it's always an evolving thing. So this is where like I say, I'm going to step back a little bit. I'm going to be certainly paying attention to the chat room. So if there's any comments or questions that our audience wants to jump in, do let us know. If there's any things that you've spotted in these schedules or any exclusives that you want us to talk about, that's where I'm going to sit for the next however long the Hangout's going to be. And basically, I now pass over. Alyssa, it's over to you.
Oh my, throwing me in there, right in the mix. I had kind of thought that we'd start off just going day by day, like we do with the San Diego panels, and just talking about what do people plan on doing on Thursday, aside from the exclusives, which we'll talk about after we get through the panels, hopefully. So, Michael, what are your highlights for Thursday?
Well, the way I've broken it, I mean, I've looked at each day and I've kind of broken it down into like 3 different areas, I guess. The areas I would consider what are going to be the popular ones, the ones that I kind of like, and then ones that I just find interesting but aren't really for me. So, I mean, I think the big popular ones are obviously going to be in the main stage and Hammerstein, whatnot. I'm seeing, Ash versus Evil Dead. That's going to be a big one. Comic Book Men, that's another big one. Nat Geo with Neil deGrasse Tyson at the Hammerstein seems pretty interesting. The Tales from the TARDIS with the 11th Doctor, I'm sure Kevin will be trying for that one. That one is a little confusing because I originally thought they had announced all the Doctor Who panels at MSG, but that seems to have been moved to the main stage. Do you have any thoughts on that, or?
I'm not really sure. I hadn't really taken a look at what's going to be specifically happening at the main stage on Thursday. The Ash versus Evil Dead certainly sounds like it's going to be one of the main shows that are highlighted on there.
Yeah.
But I was looking personally the Neil deGrasse Tyson for one of the smaller shows, but I was also looking at Stan Against Evil, which is a smaller show that's happening in room 1A06.
Yeah, I have seen that.
But so with regards to the main, it seems like there's two main shows, two main events happening. One is at the Hammerstein and one is at the main stage. Does that seem, Melanie, have you taken a look?
I'm taking a look right now. It looks like those are the two for the day. We don't draw in Madison Square Garden until Friday and Saturday.
So is anybody planning on going to the Hammerstein? On Thursday?
Not on Thursday for me. Thursday is going to be my quiet day. But the stuff in there does look very good for that day.
Yeah, I agree. Thursday, I mean, Exorcist is a bit later on Thursday, and that's going to have Gina Davis there as well. So Hammerstein seems to be, you know, one of the better places on Thursday if you like, you know, if you're kind of a deGrasse Tyson and Gina Davis. The only thing is and I'll preface this at the very beginning of the show, both the Hammerstein and MSG are not cleared between panels. So it's kind of a Hall H situation. If you want to see something later and it's a low popular, you may or may not have to sit in there throughout the entire day.
Right.
Makes sense. That makes sense. So at the Hammerstein, we've got Neil deGrasse Tyson. Then what's the next panel after that?
I'm not sure. I have to.
Yeah, I've got Skybound.
Walking Dead with Robert Kirkman. After
it's gonna, that's going to be mostly more comic related than having the full cast there.
Right.
Okay. And then, so it seems like pretty much people are going to be doing panels in the convention center on Thursday. What panels are you guys going to hit during the show on Thursday?
I like this smaller panel, but it's more of a personal preference. Hasbro Star Wars. I mean, I'm a Star Wars fan, and it's the Star Wars toys. So Hasbro is going to come around and show you their Star Wars stuff. So I kind of like that one. It's in 1A21 at noon, 12:15, and I like Comic Book Men on the main stage line. The only problem I ever have with the Comic Book Men panel in general is it turns from a Comic Book Man panel into a This Is Kevin Smith panel. So that's my... Yeah. I mean, I watch Comic Book Men. I really enjoy Comic Book Men, but it not upsets me isn't the right word, but it's very odd when Kevin Smith takes over the entire panel. And if you really watch the show, he just comes in every once in a while and like recaps with them on their podcast at the very end. But the show is really about the other guys, you know, Mike, Brian, Ming, and all of the rest.
I mean, I remember seeing the replay of last year because they live streamed some of the panels, and that it's the infamous panel now where Kevin Smith pretty much talked through the Daredevil fight sequence in the corridor shot by shot, and it took up something like half of the panel or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then again, it's always fun to watch him talk. So swings and roundabouts.
I had done a 75th Marvel get together with all of the creators and artists and writers from the past 75 years, and once they were all going to do one huge creators get together photo op, have them all on the steps in leading up to the VIP area at New York Comic-Con, and that all got thrown away because Kevin Smith showed up. and everybody wanted to speak with Kevin Smith, and he was wonderful, and he's a very generous and kind person, and all of that. However, we never got that photo op with all of those creators, which would have been fabulous to have seen. So that's it. Are there any smaller panels that you're attending, Melanie, on Thursday?
Thursday, it's always a possibility. Right now, I like to keep Thursday as like my quiet day, like explore the show floor while everything's still there, and get like a couple photo ops and maybe autographs out of the way. So there's always the possibility of me popping in a smaller room. But I'm one of those. I always go big with the panels. I go for the big ones or I go home. So I'm always like Walking Dead on Saturday and crazy stuff like that, because I just, got to go all the way for whatever reason, because I'm nuts.
Any other panels for you, Mike?
Not
Thursday.
Not for me, but I did see two smaller, interesting ones. One was this one at the very beginning of the day at like 11 in A06. It was INDEH. Another reason it looked interesting, it's this created thing by Ethan Hawke. So if you're kind of an Ethan Hawke fan, he's going to be there. So it just caught my eye, the fact that, he's there doing something, maybe a little smaller than, a big panel. And I also kind of like the DC All Access, just because I'm a DC fanboy, at A24 at 145.
It sounds good. Yeah, the DC booth that they're having out in the concourse looks to be pretty impressive from what I've read about it. They're going to have a couple of Linda Carter Wonder Woman costumes and a green screen and the like. So that booth is worth checking out. The Stand Against Evil panel that I'm actually have RSVP'd for the press room in and the subsequent panel showing and panel that they're doing looks to be a real fun show, comedy horror combination with the guy John McGanley, who starred in Scrubs as the kind of crazy doctor, is the star of the show. So I've always liked, not being a sitcom fan, but I've always liked his performance. So I'm really kind of actually looking forward to seeing that. That's going to take up most of my evening and afternoon. I am not sure if I'm going to get into see the Hammerstein. I'd love to see Neil deGrasse Tyson at the Hammerstein. But I mean, isn't that like 6 or 7 blocks from New York, from the Javits?
It's like 4. Yeah, it's not quite as far as Madison Square Garden is, but it's a little bit of a trek. And especially one other thing with Hammerstein we should also mention is they have a very odd food and what you're allowed into the actual venue policy. Because I remember last year there were a lot of complaints like umbrellas weren't allowed in, food wasn't allowed in. So just be cautious when you're walking there what you are trying to bring in before you get there. So if you have
I do recall they sold like an IPA though, so which was kind of really nice. That was a highlight for me because I'm not used to being able to drink decent beer. Usually it's like stuff I can see through. So anyway, moving. Well, I like the dark beer. What can I say? So on Friday, moving on to Friday, highlights for you guys at this point. Who wants to go first? Mike.
All right. For me, the highlights, the things that I like, I want to do the Resident Evil. I kind of like that. That's at MSG. I like the Wonder Woman 75th panel in A24. That's a bit later at 5:15, but it conflicts with Black Sails, and I kind of really want to go into Black Sails. I applied for the press room for Black Sails, haven't heard back from them yet. That's in A10 at 5:30. And I also like the Screen Junkies Honest Trailers. That's at 8 p.m. I'm a big Honest Trailers fan, so to me that called to me.
Yes, but that one also conflicts with the Marvel AOS panel with Ghost Rider at 7:30.
Yes.
Well, you said what I like, not.
Anyone else trying for the Marvel, trying to get into the Marvel AOS panel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel for Ghost Riders?
I would love to, but since I'm commuting 2 hours back to home that night, and I have to get back really early the next day, I'm hoping to scout out Madison Square Garden and see what's going on. So I don't think it's going to work time-wise. 2 hour commute. Not the way to do it. Not recommended.
Understood.
Yes.
Thankfully, I'm staying across the river at in Union City. So I've got maybe a 10-minute little bus ride from Port Authority, which makes it totally easy. Yeah, it's well. I booked my Airbnb. I want to say 11 months ago. I paid for it. So
if there is somewhere you want to stay, Melanie, if there's a sofa that's available at
couch surfing.
Funny you should say that.
Throwing out there.
No. If my 17-year-old doesn't get his science project done, I may have a room. I may have a couch.
Excellent.
Hey.
So,
just a couple of comments that are coming in on the chat room. Kevin W is saying highlight for Friday, Doctor Who.
Yes.
So I know that a number of people are definitely up for that one.
Yes.
Also, this is a comment that's coming from Super Cat Chick. I know we're kind of like dealing with the panels at the moment, but maybe we can jump in with this as well. She's saying that she felt a little bit underwhelmed by New York Comic-Con last year, feeling that she felt that it was very disorganized, the line information was given incorrectly, and thought the majority of the volunteers interact with weren't trained and didn't know what they should have. It felt that with all of this was the exception of the Hammerstein, which was run very well. Is Hammerstein actually run by their own individual staff, or is it run by the ReedPOP guys?
My understanding is it was run by the Hammerstein staff, which is actually odd because I was hearing very opposite things. I was hearing more complaints about Hammerstein than about other places on the whole. I think one of the issues as far as saying, disorganized is I believe Super Catchick has done San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. I think when you've done San Diego, it becomes, you have like a different viewpoint on New York Comic-Con. I feel that it becomes like you're trying to compare the two, and it just doesn't they're different shows. That's my, takeaway anyway.
Fair enough.
The Hammerstein.
Okay, and also, sorry.
If I may just chip in on this one, the Hammerstein is also a union hall, so they have their own set of vendors and stage personnel and house managers and ushers and the like. So that's more of a theater situation environment, whereas the Javits Center is more of volunteers who do this once a year, and are attempt to have been brought up to speed with regards to line control and so forth. But as with all volunteers, it's always it's always a little mushy in terms of what people retain and what they don't retain. So that's a comparison of the two of them. With regards to the overall feeling of the difference, I think that that Mike had it nailed it on the head with the difference between the two. Try thinking about New York Comic-Con in relationship to some of the more established other conventions, like Baltimore and the C2E2 and some of the other conventions out there in ECC over in Seattle. And I think that you get a better understanding of kind of where they fit. They've done massive work with line management over the past 3 years. The line management control ReedPOP has put into New York Con is phenomenal compared to where it was in 2012. I think Melanie can agree with me there. That was the reason why I didn't go in 13, because I was so frustrated with the lines.
Exactly.
And,
fair enough. We have also a comment from Graham Small, but we'll get back to that because that is very much an overarching question that he's asked. And also Sarita P is saying another highlight for her for Friday. AMC presents Humans.
Yes.
It's on my list. I have a list.
Oh. I'll say what. That's my contribution from the chat room. Back to you guys. So, I mean, have you wrapped up Friday, or is there anything else?
No, I wanted to actually, Melanie. So, what is in the Hammerstein? I know Kevin, Doctor Who had mentioned that the Doctor Who panel was going to be there. What else is in the Hammerstein on Friday?
On Friday, I think Doctor Who is in Madison Square Garden, but it's not listed. Garden. Yes.
No.
Okay.
It's not listed yet. It's very strange. I think BBC America has released their block and they've released their time. I can't remember if it was 10 or 10:30, but in the morning. But it's not on New York Comic-Con schedule. The only thing in there right now in Madison Square Garden on Friday is Resident Evil and Underworld. So that's interesting.
That's an interesting combination, Doctor Who and Resident Evil.
Yes. that's
there may be a little bit of room clearing. So does anybody know what's happening at the Hammerstein on Friday?
Hammerstein, we have
Cartoon Network, regular show, and then Steven Universe. And then afterwards, it's Elementary, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Rise of the Super Shredder, and Once Upon a Time.
That'll be bigger.
It sounds like there could be some room camping for that with regards to all of those shows. They all seem to be have a common theme with them. So that leaves us with the Javits Center shows. Mike, you had said that you had AMC's Humans on your list.
Humans was on my list. Sci-Fi has Winona Earp on 1A21 at 6:30, I think. That looked good. Adult Swim is on the main stage at 4:15. Voltron is also on the main stage right before that at 2:30. And actually something that's a little more relevant for Melanie, which I'm sure she would mention, is in 1A06 at 12:15 on Friday. Do you have that on your list, Melanie?
I do. The Jack Gleason Spotlight. Joffrey talking about the perks of being an evil child on Game of Thrones. I'm sure it will be very fun.
Oh, fun!
That will be fun. I will be there, I hope. Unless, like, you know, something random happens, like Funko assigns me the slot in the middle of the panel or something, which would be terrible. But and that's something else we can talk about entirely. That's another topic.
Okay.
That's another topic. Let's see, something else that might interest people. I know I haven't actually gotten the chance to watch this show yet, unfortunately, but it looks like there's a Stranger Things panel on the main stage at 11 a.m. on Friday. And I heard that that's a very good one. That's on my list of shows to watch. But I don't think I'll be going to the panel without having seen the show yet. But in case anybody is interested in that, that'll probably be an interesting one.
That is going to be rammed.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure.
I suspect the two that you've mentioned so far that are going to be rammed are Stranger Things and Steven Universe, which just pulls them out of the woodwork. out of nowhere for that thing. It's big fandoms. But Stranger Things has been the show of the year. I
Melanie,
think
what time is this Stranger Things? Because I'm not even seeing that listed. Was that somewhere else?
It is 11 a.m. on the main stage. It actually is called Inside the Upside Down.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, that's what that is.
Yes. So it's not it's not labeled as Stranger Things.
That might have thrown one or two other people as well.
So moving on to Saturday, unless
Wait.
anybody has. Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Okay, one more thing.
I've got a few other on what I think are interesting panels on Friday. If you're a book person, BookCon has a Star Wars writers round block. That seemed pretty interesting. So, like the writers of all the Star Wars books. So that looks pretty good. If you are a Lost Girl fan, Lost Girl has a panel in 1/8/21 at 12:15, and Anna Silk will be there. And she like Lost Girl's already over, and when they were actually filming, she never showed up. So the fact that she's here this year is, probably her first time at a con, or at the very least at New York Comic-Con. And they're actually screening this movie. I've heard good things about it, Howl's Moving Castle. So, but that's a late night thing. It's in 1/8/21. It's just a screening of the movie, but I've heard good things about it. So
it's a classic.
Yep,
it's a classic.
I've never seen it.
Awesome film. One of Gimli's highlights. Great film. If you find yourself footloose and fancy free and get the chance to see that film, go and check it out. That's high fantasy, gorgeous.
Moving on to Saturday. So in the Hammerstein, we've got Let's Play Live, Shadowhunters Season 2, the sci-fi panel block of Expanse and Magicians, and Teen Wolf. So my question to you guys, knowing the Hammerstein the way you guys do I have a chance in hell of getting into the sci-fi panel block show with Teen Wolf happening just after it?
That's so funny, because my schedule right now says Teen Wolf's at 10:30 in the morning.
Oh, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? How I've got it set up, it seems it's listed alphabetically. So that makes sense. So it looks as though that there's a 2-hour block between Shadowhunters and the sci-fi panel block show.
Yes.
So it seems as though that nobody's going to be really room camping at the Hammerstein. Does that make sense to people?
I doubt it. Yeah, because I feel like between those, people will clear. So I think you have a chance.
Unless they fit something in between then.
Yeah.
Good point. Has anybody taken a look at, is anybody going to go to any of those shows, or am I the only one that's interested in the Expanse and the Magicians?
You're on your own.
I will be.
Okay.
I will be in MSG.
There we go. Okay. So speaking of
Madison
MSG, what's the lineup for MSG?
Well, currently we have, and we don't know, it kind of looks a little bit sparse for the day, so they may be adding. We have Power Rangers and John Wick at 2 p.m. So that's why I say, if the queue line opens at 2 p.m., it doesn't really make sense. 3:30, we have DreamWorks Troll Hunters, the world premiere. And 5:30, we have The Walking Dead. So
I will say Troll Hunters look to be very interesting. Isn't that the one that Gil
yeah.
Yes. Thank you for bailing me out with how to pronounce his name. I appreciate that. So he's getting into cartoons for young adults. Is that what you guys have heard about Troll Hunters?
That's what it looks like.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I hadn't heard anything really about the movies or the show, so I can't comment too well.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting. It would be interesting to see it if it wasn't right before The Walking Dead and room camping.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm very interested to see how, and I will be going there for The Walking Dead. I did tried for autographings at San Diego, so I missed their panel, and I feel very very sad about that. So I'm really excited for this one, but it's going to be very interesting with it being in Madison Square Garden because the lines are. I'm just intrigued to see what they're going to do with that. Back in 2012, I remember before they cleared the main stage, I tried to get into that panel, and I think 2 hours ahead of time, this is before I knew about room camping, but 2 hours ahead of time, there were like 1,000 or 2,000 people in line, and they were like, nobody's leaving that room. People camped out overnight. So it's going to be interesting to me to see what the lines look like in a more populated area than closer to the Javits. So I'm intrigued to see how that ends up. And that'll be an interesting thing to review for this year.
Definitely very different vibe at Madison Square Garden in October in New York City versus overnighting and San Diego for the same kind of panels. I hear you with regards to that. So the Javits, so it turns now to the Javits Center, all of the panels at the Javits Center on Saturday, which for me, this is the biggest day. I've got, a good dozen, a half dozen shows that I all want to go to. Which is the least of all, not least of all, is the highlight for me, which is the Netflix panel of Iron Fist. That's on the main stage at 5:30. So I'm probably going to be trying to learn the new system for tapping in and tapping out to get into the main stage panel, since there is no line camping available.
I was going to bring that up because obviously that's the announcement that has come out about the line clearing, the room clearing, and how that's going to work. The announcement is New York Comic-Con will once again clear the main stage presented by AT&T after each panel. This year, you will be required to tap your badge in the morning at the end of the line dedicated to the main stage panel you want to see. That panel will be coded into your badge, and when you arrive back in the queue hall back into that panel, you will tap your badge again for entry into the main stage. Our super smart system, not in air quotes, will know that your spot is reserved. That's a quick snapshot, so please reach the page, etc. So, yeah, I mean, how new is this for 2016?
It's
brand new.
Brand new.
Yeah.
The big question that I've got is, are they going to tap you into the line? Are they going to say, okay, you are officially into this, I'm dreaming here, but you are officially into this Netflix panel. Are they going to tap it at the end? So you've got to wait. Once they let you into the building, you've got to wait for 2 hours before they open up and start tapping you in. Or are they going to tap you in at the beginning so you can, go from line to line to line? Does anybody have any idea of when that tap in to get yourself into the queue for that particular show is going to happen? I don't think anybody's said so far.
I don't think
Any
so.
ideas, Mike?
They haven't said. I suspect, because the way it's worked in the past is with the wristbands is they would give out the wristbands, maybe the show floor opened at 10. I was hearing they give out the wristbands closer to 9:30, 9:45, if I'm not mistaken, in the previous years. I have a feeling that they're going to have people with the scanners, like when you walk in, how they've scanned you in the past, and they'll be walking up the line closer to 9:30. I think that I think they're going to make you wait till 9:30 intentionally to make it so that way the other shoots fill up a little bit more. So it's kind of like you choose your favorite panel, then if there's another panel later, you could maybe get into it. But I think they're going to make you wait till at least 9:15 before they start tapping people.
That would make sense. It's just I'm hoping that it's the other way so that we can get the benefit of getting there early.
I think everyone's hoping for that, but I'm just saying prepare for the reality of it might not work that way for you.
So the other panel that I was really interested in, and I don't know if either of you guys, any of all three of you follow the show Dark Matter, which is going to be at 12:30 in room 1A24. That one's the other highlight of the day for me. What are some of your highlights, Mike?
My highlights, well, I might consider it really depends on what I feel for Walking Dead. I really am not sure if I'm gonna commit the whole day to Madison Square Garden. I'm not. So if I do Walking Dead, I'll do Troll Hunters right before it. Otherwise, Gotham looks pretty good. What was the other one that was also pretty good? Was well, there's the Teen Wolf at Hammerstein. I kind of have to give a shout out to one thing is the New York Comic-Con charity auction. The guy who runs the Artist Alley, Mike Negan, he puts a lot of effort into Artist Alley, which is what makes New York Comic-Con one of the best, Artist Alley things. And he puts together a charity auction, with all the money going to, I forget exactly the where it goes, but it's for a good cause. So definitely check that out. I like the cosplay championship of cosplay. And personally, if I could get there late at night, Cards Against Humanity, 8 p.m.
That sounds like a good one, actually.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's a great, great. I also had the Gotham on there. The other one of the other ones that I had on there was a new show called Falling Water, which we'll get into the after we do the panels too. Melanie, what are some of your? Well, you're going to be in MSG the whole day, so
yes, which is unfortunate.
You haven't even. Have you even looked at the Javits Center panels?
Yes, I have, and there are a few that I'd like to see, but I'm going to be stuck. If anything goes wrong with MSG for me personally, I will definitely be in room 1A21 at 1:30 for the Graham McTavish spotlight. For those of you who don't know who he is, he was I believe one of the dwarves in the Hobbit movies, and I'm a fan of him in Outlander and Preacher. So I would love to see his panel, but I'm going to be stuck in MSG, so at least I have a photo op with him.
Wait a minute, is Graham McTavish the second guy in Preacher?
Graham McTavish is, I don't want to, I'm almost done with the comics right now, actually. I started with the TV show, binged it in like 5 days, and then bought all the comics. My wallet is crying. But for anybody who hasn't read the comics, I won't spoil the first season, and I will just say he plays the cowboy. The cowboy in the first season. Yes.
Thank you. That's an excellent find. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Didn't spoil it for anybody there. Actually, that was very well done.
I'm
very discreet when it comes to things like that because I'm a Game of Thrones fan. So don't like things spoiled.
People of British drama as well. He's very much a known face here in the UK. Very good actor indeed, and yeah, that I can imagine will be, because the guy has just been in so many projects. I'm certain he'll have so many stories. I mean, even if someone just mentions Rambo, for God's sake, I'm certain he'll have a Sylvester Stallone story to come up with as well. Graham Small saying watch the Falling Water pilot this week. Very, very good. Also, someone's mentioning, and I can't quite see it in the listing, maybe someone else can spot it. Sarita P has mentioned that there's a John Wick panel.
Yeah.
Will be there. Where's that going to be?
That's the MSG. That's I think that's right before, that's the Power Rangers and John Wick
yes.
are at MSG right before Troll Hunters.
Wow, that's a back-to-back and a half.
Ooh.
Yep.
That's going to be a fun one.
Wow.
Packed day.
Excellent. Okay.
Just a little. So anything else on Saturday? If not, we'll move on till Sunday.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 other things I'd call out.
Go for it.
Squitchwonkers, something like that. Evangeline
Yeah.
Lilly will be there. 1A21 at 11 a.m. So, you know, if you're an Evangeline Lilly fan, it could be an interesting panel.
Mhm.
Alan Tudyk is on the main stage. Huh?
Very quickly, do you know what that project is? Do you know what that? It's Squidderwonkers, by the way. Do you know what that is?
I'm not aware of it. Do you know what it is?
No, yeah, just to for everyone who's watching, it's the kids' book that Evangeline has written. She released it at San Diego Comic-Con a year and a half ago, and basically it's a kids' storybook, but she's got a very unique twist on it. She's very fun twist on it. So no, that's it. That's what that book will be. That's what that panel will be about. It'll be about her project. So there you go.
It looked interesting.
Yeah.
I liked the Alan Tudyk panel on the main stage because I'm a Alan Tudyk fan. Dollhouse and Serenity, Firefly, and other places. There's a Brat Pack America panel, which seemed interesting. What, Leonard? You have a look, Leonard.
I'm just curious. I mean, are we talking like classic Brat Pack or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the exact person. One of the directors of one of the movies was going to be there. I'll have to search it out exactly. I was just calling out the title.
Ain't gonna be John Hughes.
No.
Nope.
I'm curious. I'm very curious about that panel. I'll tell you what. I'll let you carry on talking. I'll dig that out.
We'll get back to that. So on anything else, Mike, or can we move on to Sunday?
One more is the Cyanide and Happiness panel.
Oh my God.
But it runs. But it runs against Cards Against Humanity at 8 p.m. So, you know, Melanie, you have to choose between the two.
I may be, after Walking Dead, I may be The Walking Dead. Like, physically, like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, but those both sound great. And if I'm not The Walking Dead, I will have to choose.
So the Brat Pack America, a salute to 80s teen movies and the pioneering directors of Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Real Genius. So it's Amy Heckerling, Martha Coolidge, and Kevin Smokler.
Yeah, I think Amy Heckling's going to be the headliner on that one because of her work. Certainly not just for Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but also she's the director of Clueless as well. So, I mean, but, no, it's not just the Brat Pack stuff. It's a shame that there isn't going to be more of the actual stars of the era. But there we go. Very shame. But no, that should be an interesting one. Okay.
So Sunday, for the third time. Can we move on to Sunday?
Yes, now you can move on to Sunday. I'm done with Saturday, so now you can move on to Sunday.
No, and this is what I was saying going into Saturday, is that there's a huge amount of shows. I know that a lot of people had said there's a lot of shows on Friday, but there's also a lot of shows on Saturday that you kind of just have to look for and really dive into. On Sunday, we've got the Legion at the Hammerstein Ballroom at the Hammerstein, which is one of the things that I was looking at myself. The showrunner is going to be there. Also at the Hammerstein is the Son of Zorn and Crackle Presents Super Mansion. Yeah, I'm personally, I'm looking forward to the Legion show myself. I'd like to just see what that's about. I don't know if I'm going to make the actual walk over there. Is primarily, and I'm just reading from the thing. Showrunner Noah Hawley is moderating the discussion. Inspired by the characters from X-Men comics, is the story of David Haller, a troubled young man who may be more than human. So it's an FX TV show that's going to be coming on, which looks like it could be an interesting show. Anything happening at the Madison Square Garden on Sunday?
Nope.
Or is it?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, so it's primarily just the rest of it is the Javits Center, the shows that are the panels that are happening at the Javits Center. Then highlights for me is Timeless at the Javits Center. They're going to be doing a showing, a preview of the pilot episode at and a panel for the new show. That's a show, I think. I forget what network is putting it on, but I believe it starts next week or 2 weeks from now. It's coming right up with regards to it. No, it isn't this coming week. It's the following week. So it's interesting that they're doing a showing of it at the Javits, and they're going to be airing it on the television so soon thereafter. I would have thought that they would have done mostly just a panel on it.
Just to let you know that's being screened on NBC.
NBC, thank you. Melanie, what shows are you coming on Saturday, and what shows are you thinking about? Panels are you thinking about trying to get into?
I will be there on Sunday. I am very excited. I have 2 photo ops that day. And one of them actually is John Bernthal, and he does have a panel on the main stage at 2:30. And I'm very excited about that one. Hoping to squeeze that one in between my photo ops. So very excited. I'm sure he'll have a lot to say between The Walking Dead and Daredevil and playing the Punisher. So that should be fun.
That sounds great. That sounds great. Actually, you may have talked me into actually seeing what that show, what that panel is going to be like. I may try for that one too, if it doesn't conflict with anything else. What are you looking at, Mike, for Sundays?
Sunday's very light for me. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like you've mentioned, there's The Outsiders, there's Timeless, there's Legion, Son of Zorn, the Bernthal. There's a Lucia Underground one, which I found kind of funny, and a Sleepy Hollow. But for me, I don't really have anything on Sunday. The only thing I'll probably end up at is the New York Comic-Con Talkback panel, just because that's there. I will definitely be at that one. What looked interesting to me was there was a Marvel True Believers 1/8/21 at noon. So that one looked pretty good. And there was one that caught my eye was Audible, transitioning text to audio. That sounded pretty like an interesting just concept panel. That's in AO2 at 11 a.m.
That Marvel True Believers panel, just to let everybody know, is a members only panel. So you either have to be belong to the Members Plus, Unlimited Plus, which I believe is $100 a year subscription service, but you get to download comics to your iPad. I think you can also get an invite to that Marvel's Plus panel if you have a credit card or a Marvel credit card. I'm not quite sure on that end of it. I have the Unlimited Plus, so I can get the comics on my iPad.
Yeah, just to say from the listing, it says must have valid ID or one of the following for entry: Marvel MasterCard member event invite, a MasterCard or Marvel MasterCard or event RSVP confirmation, Marvel Unlimited Plus members membership card, or an MU Plus order confirmation email. So yeah, it's very much.
In the past, they've had some really nice exclusives for that, panel giveaways, swag. When they first did it, they were quite desirable. Now they become a little bit more run of the mill. So speaking of exclusives, shall we move into Funko?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
very quickly. Now let's get. I'll hold back for a second because we do have one or two people are jumping in on the Q&A. Oh, sorry, on the chat room. A couple of comments or a couple of panels that people are jumping out for. s04e08 is talking about the Power Rangers panel at 10:45, and also mentioning Gravity Falls on the main stage. I don't know how big that show is. Sort of like landing in the States at the moment. I don't know what kind of impact it's making, but I can imagine that's going to be quite a popular one as well.
It's I'm calling up the details of it right now. I'm
guessing not a show you watch then, Alyssa.
No, it's not a show. It's a Disney show. Delve into the further mystery of Gravity Falls. It doesn't really go into it, unfortunately, but it is at 11 o'clock on Sunday.
It does seem to me, from what I've heard in the chatter about the show, that it's very much about. It's a very dedicated fandom, but they're very active, so they're very much excited about the panel. So curious to see how well that fills that room. So okay, fair enough. Okay, right. So this is a. Michael P. It was a great show, animated. So there we go. Right. Yep. You mentioned it then. Let's dive straight into it. Funko. New Comic-Con.
We're all waiting for our invites to the Funko line and getting everything sorted out. So I probably am the rare person who is not. I mean, while I've put my application in, I am not dead fast. I must have this Funko. Melanie, which Funkos are you going for?
I'm just going for two, but they're important Funkos to me. The Shane from The Walking Dead, as you all probably would guess from my John Bernthal panel obsession, and the Kitty Pryde with the little Lockheed. That looks adorable. I love that. I don't know if they're going to be limited to just New York Comic-Con or if they're going to have retail resellers, but I put in my application anyway, so we'll see.
If they say on the little sticker that's usually that is that on the picture that they've passed out, if it says limited to X number of pieces, like 1,000 pieces, then it will be exclusive to New York. If it says exclusive, then chances are it will be also sold at other vendors like GameStop. There's the Rainbow Batman, which I am interested in. I have to admit but it's also being sold at GameStop, so I'm going to pick that up later on. And deal with that. Mike, is there any Funkos that you're looking for?
I'm lucky that I don't buy into the Funko craze.
Right. Right. I don't believe that.
I have maybe 5 Funkos total. That's about it. I did enter though, because I know a lot of people want. So I entered. If I hit something, hey, I could pick stuff up for other friends. I might pick something up. I don't know yet. I was looking at it. I think there was 1 or 2 that caught my eye that I kind of liked. I liked the Sally, the Nightmare Before Christmas Sally. That was kind of cute, but I know it's not a limited number one. And I liked the, what was it? There were 2 Jokers that got released with the Batman. The Killing Joke Joker looked pretty interesting, so I'd consider that one. But again, if I don't get them, I won't lose sleep over it.
So we're all buying for Leonard. Is that the way we're going? So Leonard, what are we picking? If any of us win, what are we picking up for you?
I mean, out of the listing, I did quite like the Killing Joke Joker, even though I wasn't a particular fan of the film. I'm a fan of the book, so I'd be up for that. Out of the rest of them, just to say, by the way, you were talking about them, if they did have any stickers on them saying that they would be limited pieces for New York Comic-Con. As far as I can see, there are no figures that have that. So these will probably be available out and about in the wild, more than likely. But if you are having a try for it, the Qui-Gon Jinn from episode 1, because I'm a prequels apologist. I will stand against the tide. And yes, I do quite like the Nightmare Before Christmas, Sally. But to be honest,
that's it. You can't get any.
Jumping out.
You can't get anything from me. Then that's it. We conflicted. I want 2 pops. He wants the same 2 pops that I would say, "Oh, I'm okay for." That's it.
Fair enough. It's like you say that. I mean, I'm not. I haven't been utterly blown away by this particular announcement of exclusives this year from NYCC. So they're all yours, sir. Don't worry about it.
It looks like though there is one that's going to be limited to New York Comic-Con, because there's a Funko Freddy Dorbs that says I Heart NYCC on it, and it's limited to 2,000 pieces. So would that mean that one, it says limited 2,000 on it?
Oh no, tell a lie. No, you may be right, because there's also the Freddy's. Yeah, it's the Freddy's ride, and also the Pirates of the Caribbean Barbossa with Monkey.
Oh.
Let me have a. I'll have a quick look through. Yeah, the Qui-Gon Jinn is limited. Oh no, I'm going to have to look through these again. I do apologize.
Yeah. I know that there are a bunch that are limited print run of them. So the only other thing, other exclusives at the convention that I'm particularly interested in are the a couple things that are happening at the Stanley Collectibles booth. Usually they have they've got a Stanley Pop that they usually sell. Signed or not signed. There's they're having an IDW book, and they've also got a skateboard. But those were the only other exclusives that I was looking at. Leonard, did you have anything that you were thinking about having us pick up for you?
To be honest, no.
Okay.
I wasn't going to. No, I wasn't going to overstep my boundaries. I would much prefer people to go out and enjoy their con and not think about me at all.
So I'll get my list later on today. Okay, thank you.
Yes, you will.
Yeah,
You'll get it as an email.
Melanie, do you buy any exclusives at all?
Yeah.
I generally stick with like a couple Funkos. Honestly, I'm trying to budget as much as possible. I want to actually go to both WonderCon and San Diego Comic-Con next year, so I'm keeping it low this year. So sticking to the Funkos. May pick up a few things for some friends, but that's about it for me.
And Michael, have you heard anything about 3A?
3A, yes, because we love 3A.
Yeah.
3A will have stuff at the show, but at 2 different booths. One booth is going to be at the 2000 AD booth. They may have a few figures. And the other is actually this place, Spoke Art, which is a art gallery. They actually started in Chicago, and they just opened an art gallery in New York. So 3A is going to have some like figures at the con, but I don't know if they have an exclusive. They haven't announced it yet. I've been monitoring them because I'm waiting.
Do you have to hand anything that that we could show the viewers for stuff that the 3A, the item that I've got from them is that I picked up at San Diego is downstairs. I don't think I've got anything upstairs.
Mine is downstairs. I could grab it in about 2 minutes if you want to talk for just
no,
chat.
let's continue. No, let's continue. No. Okay, so we're going to move on to television right now because
no. Listen, we have a great opportunity here to talk about Michael Leventhal behind his back for 2 minutes. Are you serious? Are you going to pass up on this?
Oh, that's true.
Number one,
that's true.
Smells.
Can we say SDC at NYCC Fed? He and I both were at Star Trek, and he would just take off. So I am still trying to keep up with him. Oh,
wait, I just take off. What does that mean?
What? What? We weren't talking about you at all. Never.
Yeah, sure.
So show us the 3A piece.
Well, I have a few, but this is one that I picked up at San Diego. Was from it's licensed with 3000 AD, so it's not just the figure itself, but also the box art gets very detailed because they also produce like art books and whatnot. So it's more immersive than just the figures, but then they get into some really detailed figures. So this is a mongrel and the mess. And
yeah, this may it may confuse one or two people. Mongrel and the Mess are two characters from the AB line, created by Kevin O'Neill for 2000 AD. Yes, I'm old school. I know my 2000 AD, but these characters are this.
See this figure, and he's very fully articulated. Like even his fingers open and close. The mouth opens up. I haven't put the batteries in him, but I think his eyes light up as well. So there's a lot of detail that goes into these figures.
It gives the people an idea of why we're talking about 3A, because the pieces they do are so striking.
Yeah,
It's just I haven't quite seen anything quite like them before. Is there anything else that you're thinking about queuing up for?
yeah, of course.
Well, here's your opportunity.
Oh, I don't want to. I can't allow other people to queue up for the same stuff that I'm queuing up for.
Okay.
No,
So we're going to be that way. We can move on to TV then.
So remind me, why did we invite you on again?
I don't for my pleasurable company. Actually, there is one thing I'll point out. There's a I've gotten into art prints a little bit more recently. If you can't tell, my Guardians, which I just got framed. There's a company, Bottleneck Gallery. They'll be there with Gray Matter art, and they have some really nice prints coming out. They have one that I'm especially excited for. I won't spoil it, but you might want to get over to them and check them out. That's all I'll say.
There you go. There's a hidden gem for you. So, what's the company name and the booth number again?
It's Bottleneck Gallery, and I will get you the booth number shortly. Give me a minute.
Okay. Right. Well, Alyssa, you said that you wanted to crack on with television. We'll do that while Mike is looking.
Sure. What I had thought is that I wasn't sure how much you get to see, Leonard, in England, and how many of the new pilots Melanie and Michael have had a chance to see. What I thought, since there's probably at least a dozen of them that were aired this past week, I figured we'd go through the list and people could give a thumbs up or a thumbs down on them. Has anybody seen NBC's This Is Us? Nope. It's a well done drama, not geeky. I'll give it a thumbs up. Anybody seen Pitch on Fox? It's
I heard of it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. No. It's about a girl that a young lady who pitches in the first major league female pitcher. I found it interesting. I'm gonna continue watching it. Anybody seen The Exorcist?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No. The Twitter comments about that show was a raft of surprise. People were not expecting it to be as good as it was.
I was floored.
You were bored. Wow.
No, floored. I was great.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad it's gotten positive reviews on Twitter too, because it was surprisingly well done. The cinematography was great. Real life sets. There were hardly any studio sets at all. The characters were fully flushed out. It seems like there is enough there to carry the show through a full, complete season. I gave it an A- in my scoring system. Yeah, so that was. Anybody seen Van Helsing? Sci-fi show Van Helsing.
Now, this I'm very curious to hear. I'm curious to hear what people's responses are to this show, because I was in the press room at San Diego this year for Van Helsing, and the premise sounded interesting. I'm watching, and if anyone's seen it on the chat room, please jump in with any comments, because I'm curious. I'm very up for seeing what that show develops into.
I gave it a rating of B, because it was an interesting twist to the vampire story, and it had decent production values. It was primarily a single set show, so you didn't really get very much outside of it, but the characters seemed to be well laid out, and I liked some of the interplay between them. Plus, it seemed interesting enough so that there might be enough there to carry it through for the first season. I'm going to continue watching it. Anybody seen Notorious? It's another non-geeky show.
Graham Small has jumped in on the chat room saying Notorious equals good.
Nice. I'm glad somebody agrees with me. I gave
Sweet.
I liked it. I gave it a B+. It had an interesting plot, and with good chemistry between the two leads. And it was primarily about a lady who is does a weekly news show, kind of a bit sensationalist, and a lawyer, and their interplay. So it was fun, and the characters were. The conversations were good, and the repertoire was fun. Okay, so MacGyver. Anybody seen MacGyver?
Well,
now, this, on the other hand, I have been hearing about, and it's not been great.
Uh-oh.
Continue. Go ahead, because I don't want to say it.
The general consensus of opinion is that while it's been a waste of everybody's talent. That's the general consensus of opinion. That it doesn't use enough of the original concept of a man that, a genius that can kind of pull together all these disparate elements to create what he needs to get out. It just then ignores that and just becomes this kind of wham bam thank you ma'am kind of series. Apparently the actors are very, very good, but they just don't have enough meat on the bone to play with, which is a shame. Michael P is saying, I thought it was marginal and predictable, which is never a good thing for a television show, unfortunately.
I would add formulaic to it. I mean, the lead character, he's got to be like 20 years old. He doesn't have enough gravitas to play MacGyver.
I have no problem with that. I put this question to the showrunners when I asked, is this a case, does the age of the character matter? And they said that as long as his ingenuity comes forward, then it still holds up. But from what I'm hearing, that is not the case. So never mind.
Moving on, USA's Falling Water. Anybody get a chance to see this one?
on my list, but nope.
Not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
I'm just wondering if it's actually going to be quicker to actually ask Melanie and Michael which ones they have seen.
It will be.
Yes.
Well, okay. We'll get to that. Okay. So, Falling Water. The basic premise is that it is a lady who has pretty intuitive dreams and is a very good creative person, and she's approached to tandem dream, so to speak. It's a confusing concept, but they lay it out well. There is a chance that it could go down a rabbit hole, in my opinion, but they seem to have captured the characters enough and given enough to it. I gave it a B+ because the production values are very high, and the writing was decent too.
Comment on the chat room. Michael P is yes, so full caps, exclamation mark. So yeah, Falling Water was good. Really enjoyed it. Michael P saying it started well, and he's really enjoying it as well. So there we go.
I'm not so impressed with the CBS show called Bull. It's a takeoff on the NCIS series. I liked the lead actor, but not so much for the plot or the writing. I'm assuming nobody else has seen it. No geek references.
What was the name again? Sorry.
Bull, B-U-L-L. It's about a publicist, who, not a publicist, but a jury manipulator, predictor, a gentleman who deals with the jury.
This was originally a UK show, I think, and it kind of has been a translation to the US. This is Michael Weatherly's new thing.
It is, exactly, and he's good. I mean, I like him as an actor. I just found that the script was, I don't know, it wasn't laid out. It wasn't as fun as it should have been. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't enough there. Maybe something was lost in the translation.
Yeah, we're getting similar comments on the chat room. Marginal and formulaic. We'll probably try one more, but generally, meh is the which is never a good. Yeah, good response.
I don't know if anybody has seen The Good Place. This is an NBC show about the lady who, well, not to be spoilery, but has a question when she gets to the pearly gates, so to speak. Is she in the good place or the bad place? Because perhaps some of her behaviors were not as didn't lead themselves to the good place as much as
the cast for this is incredible. This is Kristen Bell.
That's right, I thought so.
Yeah, this is Kristen Bell. We've also got ourselves. Yeah, I mean the cast is incredible for this. From what we saw at San Diego, it did look very, very funny. Indeed, we've got Graham Small saying that it's a funny show. I liked the premise of it because I liked the idea of somebody sneaking in the back door and so like there's an administration error in heaven. Come on, I'm down with that. So I'm up for that show. But yeah, Angela Copley, I'm enjoying The Good Place. Graham Small, I'd watch her reading the phone book though. So I can understand that. I can, yeah. So there we go.
Now, it was,
Violet Kruger is watching. Hello, Violet. How are you doing? Liked The Good Place as well.
it is a cute and fluffy show, definitely very light, not a lot of deep thinking, but fun. You know, I mean, where else are you going to get giraffes wandering through the street and people in electric, you know, costumes with thunderbolts on them? It was fun. So
there's not many fun shows around at the moment. I think the only one I can think of, which for me is really just fun, Lucifer, which is just so much fun. It's
that's on my list.
In a dark way. In a dark way.
It's fun for grown-ups, but it's still fun.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So definitely well written, and would recommend The Good Place. Moving on to Fox's Lethal Weapon. I was really skeptical about this one, right up there with MacGyver on this show. But the characters, they've got chemistry, you know, and they've got chops. they can act. So I'm going to give it another couple of episodes to see whether or not it goes down the rabbit hole. But I kind of liked it. Have you followed it at all, Leonard, on Twitter?
Yes, I have. And I was about to say that you're in a minority. Michael P is saying I like the leads, but from what I've been reading and the general response has been that possibly stubbing your own knee on a bedside table is as enjoyable as watching watching Lethal Weapon. Walking on Lego, I believe that was a quote. If you walk on Lego with bare feet, that's the kind of enjoyment level that you get out of watching. I've yet to see it. I mean, it's I'm struggling to drive myself to see it because it's Lethal Weapon. How on earth do you turn that into a television show? But hey, each to their own. I mean, like I say, the leads have chemistry. It's just whether that can keep the show going. Watch it for a couple more, I suppose, and see how it goes.
Absolutely. I mean, with so many other really good shows out there, that it's going to be hard pressed to get mind share and eyeballs to watch this one, and it is football season too. So, last but not least, the show that everybody seems to really like is ABC's Designated Survivor. As Leonard does a touchdown move.
Great show. That's being shown on Netflix here in the UK. Watched the first episode yesterday. It's interesting to watch Kiefer Sutherland in a slightly less forthright role. He's not strong backboned. He's not. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing there. He's, I don't know. I really liked the character.
I did too.
There's one scene in there where he does kind of like step up and it seemed out of place. But beyond that, I'm curious to see, because I watched it with a family member and they kind of saw it was going to be, or they think the series is going to be very much a conspiracy theory within the homeland borders, whereas I think it's going to be more about this character stepping up. And it's curious to see where the show is going to go, whether it's going to be kind of like a West Wing conspiracy thing or a 24 conspiracy thing, or it's going to be more like a character show where it's about this guy and whether he's able to step up to the pressures that he goes. Michael P saying it's so unrealistic. The only unrealistic thing about that whole setup, just to talk about the setup for the series, the designated survivor is basically the one member of the cabinet which is taken to a separate place when they have the State of the Union, and the start of the series is the State of the Union is effectively bombed, pretty much killing the entire U.S. government, including the President of the United States. The designated survivor is then elevated into the position. The only unrealistic thing for me is the fact that they managed to destroy the entire building with a bomb. Well, okay, if that would be a big bomb, frankly. But there we go. I like the premise. I like the setup, and I'm curious to see where the series goes.
You bring an interesting point up about where it could go, and I'm really kind of hoping that it's more goes to how the government reestablishes itself and his character, how Kiefer's character becomes stronger and actually leads the country, whether or not there will be a military coup.
Yeah,
which seemed, but that show seemed to me to be the best of the best.
It certainly shows a lot of promise. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It will be interesting to see where it comes. Any comments?
I'm liking Melanie's face at this point.
Like, maybe I should start that one. I like this review thing.
Okay. A couple of comments coming in on the chat room. Well, the main one is actually from Aaron Neighbours. Hello, Aaron. How are you doing, sir? Did anyone catch Star Wars Rebels series premiere last night?
I did not.
It's
Rebels fan.
It's DVR'd. Do not tell me anything because I will shoot you if you do. I am eagerly waiting to catch up. I just haven't had a chance to watch it. So yes, I am a big Star Wars Rebels fan.
I've purposely been.
I generally woke up. I generally woke up at something like 6, 7 o'clock this morning to my timeline being full of it. It was just nothing but people talking about Star Wars Rebels. It's got fan base, and yeah, by all accounts, it just blew a lot of people away. I saw the opening. I saw the first. I'm not a Star Wars Rebels regular viewer, but I did watch the first 2 episodes when they screened them at Star Wars Celebration this year, and I was actually blown away because I'd only seen a couple of the first season episodes, but this was really strong. This was not a kids animated show for me. This was real deep stuff. This was really kind of intense Star Wars. I was very, very impressed, and I'm very curious to see. I'm going to be going back and watching the whole lot, but no, I was blown away. Very well, figuratively and literally on screen. It's a explosive show. And there you go, Michael. That's as far as I'm going to get.
All right.
I've been staying away from all of the returning shows. We can get into that at some later date. The week coming up, is there any other comments about the shows that we've gone over?
Angela Copley about Lethal Weapon. When the CW starts up, Lethal Weapon might get left in the dust purely because of the way it's been programmed against some rather big shows.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And Michael P about Designated Survivor. Designated Survivor. His character is too weak. He should have fired a certain character that was on screen. Well, that was the point. He should have done, but he can't because he hasn't got the backbone to back it up. So no, I'm sticking with it. I still think it's the strongest show that I saw this week.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So speaking of the next week in television, how many people are going to skip work on Friday for Luke Cage?
It's going to be one of those, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah.
Now, the thing is, here in the UK, we really have the advantage because it's 8 o'clock in the morning when we get to see it because of the time shift. You have midnight. You have to watch it. Oh, my God. We just have the day and we just watch the thing. Yes, we are talking about Luke Cage, by the way. Nobody picked up on the clues on this. Yeah, it's that's going to be a big day. I mean, I can imagine it's going to be very much like for myself. I watched Daredevil and I just blitzed the whole thing.
There are some. I saw some Twitter feeds that were talking about it. I hesitate to say advanced reviews because it sounds as I believe that they've come out from Netflix or from those shows. So there are advanced people talking about the show or having seen it and talking about the show already. And usually that's a very good indicator. But of course, it's from Netflix with the likes of Daredevil and Jessica Jones. So we all have high expectations for that show. That same morning, Amazon is dropping a show by Woody Allen. Talk about different ends of the spectrum. Time out. Oh, no. What have I done?
No, it's Woody Allen. How the man is still working is beyond me. But,
well, it is a. I'm sorry.
Go on. No, go on.
It is about a family in New York, and pretty typical Woody Allen stuff. So that's. But if people like Woody Allen, it's worth noting. We also get 2 new shows from Sci-Fi, Aftermath and Channel Zero. The only one that looks interesting to me is Aftermath. Kind of supernatural, post-apocalyptic kind of a shows. Returning shows this week.
Before you move on, from Amazon, because you mentioned Amazon, do you know when Man in High Castle comes back? Because I actually saw that, and I enjoyed the first season on that.
I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm so focused on just the next couple of weeks. As I say to everybody in my life, talk to me after October, the middle part of October, and then I will devote time to your questions. I don't think it's happening between now and October 15th, though.
Well, just to let you know, Michael, the second season of that premieres December 16th.
Ah,
Wow.
all right.
Got a while away to go yet.
Just in time for the Christmas holidays. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So returning shows this week are Once Upon a Time, Drunk History, Last Man on Earth, The Regular Show, Bob's Burgers, and The Simpsons all return this week. It seems to be a fairly light week for new shows. I'm not quite sure why, but the following week, we've got coming up, I've taken a look at the October 2nd shows, and those look to be another week that's on the same scale of this previous week for new shows that are coming out. So you may...
Yes,
people,
there's only one show that's worth talking about. On October the 2nd, there's only one show, and that's it. And that's, in fact, I'm tempted to sack off all our plans for next week's Talkin Comic-Con, and we're just going to talk about Westworld for an hour.
yes.
We're just going to talk about Westworld.
Absolutely. The problem is that it is it's a subscription show. And it's like, I'm gonna have to get HBO. And I just bought into Stars because Black Sails and Blunt talk with the Patrick Stewart show that's happening, and Ash versus the Evil Dead, which everybody's talking about. So another subscription service to subscribe to. But yes, Westworld is coming on. There's a couple of other shows that are happening next Sunday, which we'll talk about next week too. But that is the previous week and the upcoming week in television.
Cool.
Turning it over to you, Leonard.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, we'll quickly wrap this up because this has been an extended show purely because we have been talking about New York Comic-Con and there's been lots of television to talk about as well. We will be skipping television to some degree next week because we have got quite a packed show. Next week, we are going to be talking to the organizer of the Lakes International Comic Arts Festival, which is one of the major festivals that takes place here in the UK. Julie Tate is going to be coming on to talk about the challenges of putting this show on. This is a show which has only been running for 4 years, but is managing to pull, and has managed to pull, pretty much from the moment it got started, some of the major names from across the globe. This is, for me, a fascinating show because it takes over the small town in Cumbria of Kendal. Imagine San Diego Comic-Con via Murder, She Wrote. It's really kind of small and quaint and cute and twee and nice, and it's just a really nice con. But lots of interesting people there. We will be doing a live report from that show, but Julie Tate is going to be joining us from that. And also, I'm going to be unveiling Project Blue Book, which is something which I've been working on for about a couple of months now, and giving it its proper title, and also asking you guys what you think of it. But it's going to be a little bit of a presentation about what I've been working on over the last couple of months. So there you go, that's next week. So yeah, thank you very much indeed for joining us, Alyssa. Obviously, it's all about New York Comic-Con for yourself in prep. What else have you got left to do now to get ready?
Oh, pack. It's like register my ticket. Don't forget you gotta you gotta register your ticket. It's everything.
Wow. Fair enough.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And she's also got the press stuff to organize as well. So she's busy bee. So excellent. Where can people find you, Alyssa?
friendsofcc.com/forum for the chat and forum functions. We're putting a lot of the information that we get out on the FOCC blog, which is just Friends of Comic-Con. So that's where we're making a lot of effort to getting all of the new information out on that one. There's also Twitter at Friends of CCI.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed. Michael, thank you so much for coming on. I know we haven't had you talking for a good 20 minutes there, which
I know.
freaked me the hell out, frankly. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Where can people find you online, Michael?
They can find me online at basically I'm MLLNY at Twitter, Friends of CCI, High Def Ninja, a few other places. So that's pretty much my handle at all the various social media outlets.
Well, I mean, where can people? I mean, when you do your bits and pieces for New York Comic-Con, where's probably going to be the best place to find your coverage of the con?
So all my coverage at the con comes from the outlet that I report through, which is High Def Ninja, highdefninja.com. It's a collectible community, so that's where I'll be posting all my cosplay photos, articles, all of that stuff. However, they're more of a collectibles community, so they don't get into the nitty-gritty of preparing for the con. So like when you want to chat with me about like the actual, like, what do I do on this day? Or what should I do this? Or how do I prepare for that? That's when you see me more chatting about that kind of stuff on the Friends of CCI, you know, in the New York Comic-Con section, which is one of the areas I lead in that, on that board. So that's why I say I have my hand everywhere. Two quick.
Okay.
So
well, if you do want to cover Michael, or you want to keep an eye on Michael, if you want to ask him any questions about where to line up or what collectibles to track down, his answer of "I'm not telling you because I want to be in the line first," you will find that answer at Friends of CC Forum.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michael.
Before you move on, 2 quick points. Bottleneck Gallery 2171, booth 2171. I do recommend checking them out. They're going to have some nice stuff there. And while you're doing all your Luke Cage stuff on Friday, Friday is Force Friday, so yeah. I may be doing a midnight thing for that. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm going to be reporting from the Sheffield Meadowhall Disney store, because they're going to be doing the Big Force Friday thing as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that gets up to. Good pointer. Thank you very much indeed for that, Michael. Excellent. And last but not least, thank you very much indeed, Melanie, for joining us. Where can people find you online? Where's the best place to go?
You can go to the Friends of Comic-Con forum or Twitter or Instagram even. I'm at MLGagne, and it's MLGAGNE. Again, because I don't have the, the banner, but I'm everywhere under the same handle, so you can find
Brilliant.
me.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Last but not least, we just got the update about one additional show that we're going to be doing, a bit of a special incidental episode of the Talkin Comic-Con shows. This is taking place on Thursday. Now, Alyssa's going to have to help me out with the timings because it's, I believe, if I go on then, Alyssa. Can you remember?
2:30 Eastern time, and which would put it at 11:30 Pacific time. Sorry, I forgot you guys. That's a bad thing for you guys.
Anyway, so yeah, so 2:30. Go on.
2:30 Eastern time.
Okay. Right. This is basically a show that we're going to be a conversation between myself, Alyssa, and Michael, and we're going to be talking to Mike Armstrong, who is the event director for New York Comic-Con. Basically, he's the big boss. He's the guy that if we have any questions that we want to put to him, opportunity for you to join us and get those questions answered. We're also going to be talking to him about how New York City Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con is evolving, how the event continues to grow and continues to grow out into the city. So talking about ReedPOP's plans and what they've got in store for attendees this year. So very much looking forward to that conversation. Do head to An Englishman in San Diego, go to the Blue Diary and the Cup of Tea section of that. It's got all the information and all the details about that, but it's taking place this Thursday, and you can certainly watch us live on YouTube and get all your questions in. We've got people on the chat room saying thank you very much indeed for the show. So guys, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and hope you can join us next week for our conversation with Julie Tate from Lakes International Comic Art Festival, where we talk to Mike Armstrong from ReedPOP. From all of us to all of you, take care and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah. Say goodbye, Melanie.
Can I curse yet?
Bye.
No.
Wait, let me